Hello, my name is Megan Eisenhower, and today I'm sitting down with a very influential individual who is known widely around the Pal community, but most importantly to all of us here at Northwest Campus. I'd like to introduce Northwest College President Stefani Hicswa. Stephanie, how are you today?
I'm well, thank you, Megan. Thanks for having me today.
Of course. So this is your second year here at Northwest as college president.
Yes.
How is it compared to your first year?
So much better. Oh my gosh, just having a year under my belt so that I know what happens when. So today we're having our scholarship luncheon, and so I know that that happens, and I know that I need to prepare for it, and I know that the volleyball team is probably, going to do really well at the regional tournament because I have had a year, and just knowing the pace of what advising day is and all the things that happen. And I've been a college president before. 7 years I was a president before I came here, but every college is just a little bit different. So this year I finally feel like I'm able to get something done and accomplish something. Whereas last year I was just drinking water from a fire hose. I swear.
Not sure what to do. All right, so before you came to Northwest, you just said you were a president, and it was at Miles Community College, correct?
Correct. I was a president there for 7 years, and it was a really, really great opportunity for me. And this job came up, and I just could not turn it down. I wasn't looking, and I wasn't ready to leave the community of Miles City, but I had been watching Northwest College for probably about 20 years. And this was the right opportunity for the position to come open, and the timing just worked just right.
So how did the two institutions compare with each other? Like, what's the biggest difference, I guess, you've noticed?
Well, so the similarities of how they compared, it's very, very similar in many respects. And in some ways, I feel like this deja vu kind of thing is happening, or Twilight Zone moment where I'm repeating the same kind of presidency over. But in ways that it differs are really, really good for you as students. There are so many more opportunities at this college for things like this.
Yeah.
I mean, to produce your own TV show, that's pretty amazing. The trips that we offer for students in between semesters are something that I've never seen at any other community college in the United States. And so just having those kind of opportunities and faculty that are committed to doing extra things with students at a higher level is one of the big differences that I just love.
There's been a lot of new changes at Northwest this year. What are some processes that you're making to help Northwest be as best as it can be?
One of the things is policy, and that sounds really, really boring. One of the things I don't like about being a president is I don't get to be in the classroom and get to be with students anymore. So one of the things that I have to do to get the satisfaction out of my job that I did when I was teaching is do things to make the college better for students. And so one of my undertakings is to look at the college policies and the student handbook to make sure that we have things in place to ensure that students are safe, that you are getting your needs met. So for example, I'm walking over here and there's a great big line outside student services. As soon as I'm done here, I'm going to go find out why there's a line. In this day and age of technology, there should not be lines of students waiting for service. And maybe we need to staff differently. So I'm looking at all those things very, very broadly and in big picture to see what I need to dissect to make that happen. And it takes a long time, so I've got to be very patient with this, but that will be overarching the entire campus and hopefully make some real good improvements. But something that's an instant improvement is that we recently changed our food service provider.
Yes.
So we hired Chartwells to come in, and what I'm hearing is that the food quality is better. So that's good, and I'm continuing to get feedback. So, after we're done, you can tell me what you think.
All right, so here's one that I know a lot of Northwest College students are curious about. Einstein's Bagels.
Einstein's
We
Bagels.
were told it was going to open in September, but there's been a little holdup. What's going on?
That's a really good question, and I was just in a meeting right before I came in here today. Yeah, we are looking at the expenses of the Einstein Bagels. So when Chartwells did their proposal to say, hey, these are the things that we can do and what we'll bring to you if you hire us as your food service provider. Einstein Bagels was part of that. However, they underestimated how much it would cost to get the franchise and develop the infrastructure and to buy all of the supplies and equipment. So we are working on that right now as we speak. You know, after I finish the meeting, the people I were meeting with, we're going back to the drawing board to see what we can do.
To get that in Northwest. Well, that'd be great if that comes.
Yeah, it would be before you're done here.
I mean,
before you graduate.
Nice. All right, so a hiccup this year for the academic part of things is the Oliver Building. There has been a positive test of asbestos.
Correct.
Can you talk about the discovery of it and what's being done to help continue the students' academic year for the welding department?
Yes, and good question. And those are one of those things that presidents just go, oh, really? I have to deal with this. So what happened is we did several roofing projects throughout the summer. The Oliver Building was last on the list, and it just so happened to correspond right when students were starting back for fall semester. So all of the debris and dust that had collected in that ceiling over 30 years of welding when they were pounding on the roof started coming down. The instructors talked to me as well as students to say, you know, this building is at the age that with all this debris and dust, we'd like to have it tested to make sure that there's not any asbestos in it. So we had it tested, and the air samples showed that there was no asbestos fibers floating around in the air, but on some of the solid surfaces, we found teeny tiny trace amounts. So back to policies to ensure the safety of students. Student safety is foremost in my mind, and so I shut down the building until we could get it cleaned. And they're in the process of cleaning it now. They've been working weekends, and I hope to have it back open next week. And so we should be really, really close. In the meantime, what we've done is we've rented shop space for the welding students to weld. You know, during the few weeks that it's taken to get that building all cleaned. So they only missed one full week of class. We did some of their book work the first week that we found out about the asbestos and shut down the building. And then that second week, there was no classes until we could get the shop space all finalized and ready to go. And so students are out there welding, and now that it's getting colder, they're getting more and more anxious.
They're like, get us back inside.
Yeah, we want to be in our building. But the other exciting thing, Megan, that we have done, and this is due to the wonderful generosity of the foundation, students came to me and said, this really stinks because we're not getting what we paid for. We paid for this nice building and, you know, to be able to use the welding machines that are installed in that building. This stinks. And so I went to the foundation and said, is there anything that we can do to provide some sort of retention scholarship for these students, because I'm afraid that they'll transfer to another school or that they'll just go to work because there's so many jobs available. So I was able, with the generosity of the foundation, to get $150 per class for these students as a scholarship, both this semester and next semester, to hopefully retain them.
Well, that is very nice.
Really, really excited.
That is very nice. That'll keep them motivated.
Yeah, I hope so. I hope so, because this has been a hardship for them, and I want to show them that I'm committed to their education.
Wow, that's awesome.
Yeah, thank you.
So the Yellowstone building is great.
The Yellowstone building is great.
It's a beautiful addition to campus. It's also more of a modern twist on what we usually have. How does it's got a lot of technology, like the classrooms and the study rooms. There's computers set up so students can be more interactive, I guess, with their professors and learning. How does that help advance the learning experience around campus?
What I hope is that the Yellowstone building as a whole, with all of those benefits that you talked about, is really a metaphor for the future of the college and the changes that I want to make happen as president of Northwest College. So we take that as a metaphor, but then we look at the specifics. It's the future of how education needs to be delivered today. I mean, all of you are using your devices to use Facebook and to text your friends and to interact. Why not do that in the classroom? I have long advocated for, rather than faculty saying, collect your phones at the door, and they have a dish that they put them in, to engage students in using their phones, to use them as a calculator or text each other back and forth. Well, this is just that on steroids. So the screens, you can plug in your devices and you can do a joint presentation. There's cameras in the classrooms so that we can do them online, or that we can record lectures so that you can view the lecture at 2 in the morning if you want. And then when exactly. Well, and then you don't have to go to class at 8 o'clock in the morning. You can view that lecture whenever you want. But then when you go to class, you get to do interactive kind of things based on what the lecture was or based on what the reading was. And then when you study in those study rooms, and they're interactive as well, it just heightens your experience as a student. So from when I went to college and you sat in a big lecture room and took notes by hand, the advances are just amazing. And so I think this is just a small glimmer of what the potential is for all over campus to really be technologically advanced. What I don't want to happen in Wyoming, it's really hard to keep up. I don't want your elementary school and high school to have better technology to learn than what we have here.
Well, I have a class in Yellowstone building.
Do you love it?
My professor's great with using all the equipment, and so I think it's made the class that much more interesting.
That's
being
fantastic.
a part of it. So I think it's a great improvement.
Our faculty are really cutting edge that way. When I travel and go to conferences, we still hear about faculty doing it the old way of how I was taught 30 years ago. And our faculty are really on the cutting edge. I'm so impressed
We're
with
up
them.
there.
Yeah, they really are.
All right, so in the Yellowstone building is also the new nursing department.
Yes.
And it is very nice. I took a tour through it during opening week. Are you hoping that all the new facilities are going to draw more nursing majors to the Northwest community?
That is a potential. What I'm hoping more so, because our nursing program is, very full already, I am hoping to attract professional development opportunities for people who are current nurses or who maybe want to upgrade their skills to come into our nursing program. With the way that the building has been designed and the way that the practice of nursing is evolving, nurses need to have continuing education all the time. And so with our small hospitals here in Powell and Cody, they don't have a lot of gunshot wounds and a lot of trauma kinds of situations. We can simulate that in those rooms. And those mannequins, I don't know if they showed you.
I've seen those.
They bleed. They're hooked into plumbing.
They're weird. They're alive.
Yeah, they talk.
Yeah, they do. It's really creepy for someone who's not a nursing major.
Yeah, it can be really creepy. Or when you walk by and it's kind of dark and
you see them in there.
And they're in there. So it has a lot of potential to advance our nursing program, but not so much in the size of classes. We want our classes to still remain small, and the nursing accreditation has a faculty to student ratio requirement that we need to make sure and maintain. But it allows us to train first responders and EMTs and upgrade some of our firefighters' response skills. People can come in, phlebotomists can come in and practice. We can simulate situations if the hospital wants to do professional development. So it's very, very exciting.
Good. Okay, so one thing that I love about Northwest College that I know for a fact don't happen around the state, because I have friends at other schools, is there's always something going on.
It's amazing.
There's dances. We've had comedians. A guy was here a couple weeks ago juggling chainsaws. How are we able to get all of these different activities on campus all the time?
I would like to say it's because you have an awesome president, but I know that that's not true. We have committed the resources to make that happen, and students pay fees. So part of the fees that you pay go into those student activities. So I was talking about the co-curricular activities that we offer for students to go on trips. With Yellowstone being so close, you have the opportunities to do that. But we have prioritized funding a student activities coordinator, and we give him part of those fees that you pay in his budget, and then he budgets for those things. So he bought laser tag last year with some of that money, and then he brings in those kind of acts, and in cooperation with the community, we're able to do amazing things because we have a music department and an art department that are so well known. People come here.
Oh, yeah.
Wilford Brimley was here not too long ago. He lives in Grable. Our music instructors have friends that they played in bands with that they'll get them to come and perform. So it's just amazing. And so it's due to the prioritization of your fee funds, but it's also due to our amazing faculty and the connections that they have to get people to come. But it's not a hard sell when you say, hey, would you like to come to Yellowstone Park? And then, oh yeah, by the way, would you do a concert too?
Yeah.
They're totally into it.
And it's great. All the shows have been great. Like,
They're
I
awesome.
always go.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
we have Northwest College, I've noticed, has a big international
Yes.
population. What makes it a prime destination for international students to come here and start their studies or continue on?
A really good story entails a friend of mine from my undergrad years. So what I didn't tell you in the story is that I went to the University of Montana in Missoula. And one of my classmates and in some of my clubs with me was a man named Chris Johnson. He was from Connecticut. We graduated, he went back to Connecticut. Haven't heard from him since. I got an email when I got this job, and he said, I have been an international recruiter since I got out of college, since we were in college together, and I've got to tell you, the international program at Northwest College is known throughout the world, and we're all jealous of what it is. And so Yellowstone is just a small part of it, but it's the safety and the friendliness of our area. So when international students come to America, they picture New York and Los Angeles, like what they see on TV. But they get here and it's so safe, and they get to know people, and we have host families for them, and they get to know other students so quickly. And when they start to talk to their friends who have gone to American colleges, that's not their experience, because they're just getting to know their roommate, whereas our students get to know almost the entire student body. And as a rural student that grew up in a town much like Powell, I loved meeting people from different places, and so I'm sure it's the same for many of our other students. So these students just feel at home instantly. So that reputation precedes us, and they go back home and tell their friends. And so we have siblings that come, we have other friends from those countries who come, and so it's just amazing. But again, I've got to give kudos to our faculty and the staff in those programs, because they work really hard. It's real strategic initiative of the college. It's a niche that we have to have this international program here. It enriches all of us by having that cultural exposure, but then it also gives them something back too. So I think it's a real win-win for both the college and the international students.
It really is.
We have over 80 students from 30 different countries on campus. Yeah, isn't that amazing?
That's amazing. That's
Yeah,
so cool.
it's way cool.
All right, so you keep talking about your faculty.
Yes.
And the one thing that I really like about Northwest is how approachable all the teaching staff is.
Yes.
And how they're willing to help you if you have questions. What do you look for? What do you and your staff look for while you're going through a hiring process? That's
a really good question. That's very astute, Megan, because we have 60 to 80 applicants for all of our faculty positions. So that says, what a high quality institution this is. One of the things that I really look for is somebody who's committed to teaching. You may not know that at universities, faculty have to do research. So their teaching load is a very, very small part of their responsibilities as a faculty member. At community colleges like Northwest, all that they do is teaching, plus being advisors, plus arranging trips, plus academic advising, all those extra things that they do, and the committee work. But they don't have those research responsibilities. We do have an Embry program, which offers opportunity to do undergraduate research, but it's not a requirement of the faculty. In the world of higher ed, you hear about publish or perish. If you're not publishing, journal articles, then
What's the point?
Yeah, you lose your job. But here, they focus on teaching. So I want to know from faculty when we interview why they want to be here. And if they tell me they want to be here for the students and they want to be in a rural area where they can get to know the community that they serve, then that's a real thumbs up for me. I want them to have interest in really looking at model teaching methods. It's called pedagogy in the field. I want them to have a sense that the reason why we are here is for student success. It's not so that they can get a paycheck. It's not so that they can publish articles and become famous. It's so that they will help you and make sure that you're successful. And if you graduate and get a degree, it's a ticket, just like it was for me. I ended up being a community college president. You're going to be on NBC News, I can tell.
I really hope. Thank you.
From this interview. And these faculty will make that happen. And I just love that. And your faculty member who teaches this class, Troy Hunt, is fantastic. He's a new faculty member and he just fits in to our community so well. And I can tell he's going to be one of those that we're talking about 30 years from now.
He's really brought this program up. It's great.
Yeah. When he and I are in our 70s, remember when you were here in 2013?
All the days.
All those days before we had the technology that we do now.
All right.
Hopefully we'll both have teeth.
I hope. That's one thing I hope for both of you.
Yeah, that would be good.
It'd be very nice.
Yeah.
So, Northwest, the athletics program, is great.
It's great.
The volleyball team is going to regionals.
Yeah.
And they're hopefully going to win it because they're awesome. Do you feel like we have enough community and student support attending all the athletic events?
That's a hard question because our gym is pretty big, and so if everybody's spread out, it's hard to know how many people are there. But I can tell you the community support of our college, including athletics, is just amazing. People say to me that the reason why Powell even exists is because of Northwest College, and so they're so proud of us and so proud of what we do. I had the opportunity to go to the Volleyball Nationals last year, which was held in Casper, and I was new, in the community, and there were so many community members there, in addition to students, but community people that I didn't even know followed our team, because I usually sit in the front when I'm on when I go to a game, and so those students were just amazing. The community members to support the team has just been amazing. So we have nationally ranked volleyball team that will play in regionals and could possibly win it and be competing for a national title. We have a nationally ranked wrestling team. Last year they were ranked #1 going in. Our soccer team has been nationally ranked in the past. So it's so cool as a college president to get to have these national teams. I kind of like going to those
Brag
things.
about it a little bit.
And then this summer I got to go to the college national finals, which I've wanted to do my entire life. It was also in Casper, and our rodeo students did very well as well.
Oh yeah, they're great. The rodeo team is amazing.
Yeah.
So at the beginning of the interview, you were talking about how you have the scholarship luncheon.
Yes.
And Northwest offers so many scholarships. It's such a great opportunity that a lot of other schools don't have the chance to do.
Yeah.
How do you go about finding donors or trustees to help donate to the different programs?
Any way that I can. I'm always asking for money. We give away over $1 million in scholarships every year. So for example, I was on a plane the other day and this man is sitting next to me telling me that he collects antique cars. So obviously he probably has money, right? I said, and he was talking about that he wanted to go to Yellowstone someday, that was on his bucket list. I said, you need to come out and go to Yellowstone on vacation, but then you need to come visit Northwest College, because I bet after you visit, you'll decide to be among our donors to donate for scholarships for students. And he said, well, I just might have to do that. So I'm always fundraising. But there is a strategy.
Okay.
So our foundation director really looks at what our needs are and tries to match those needs to the donor. So it's not just what students' needs are, because you guys have lots of needs financially, but it's looking at what the donor may want to give.
Okay.
So we had a man he's a farmer in the area that came to us and said, I don't have any kids and I'm looking at options for my estate. So we started talking to him. He's a rancher here in the area. We started talking to him about some of the things that he could do with his estate. He ended up, as a result of those conversations, giving us a $1 million endowment. So we'll have $90,000 to give ag scholarships into perpetuity, because we sat down. His name is Forrest Allen, and he's been a rancher in this area for years and years and years. So that's part of the strategy. And sometimes I had dinner with a group just the other night. Sometimes they just want to give a little bit of money. And that's okay too. So whether it's an annual gift that I want to give toward our scholarship programs or our other giving projects, the Yellowstone building took a lot of fundraising. So whether they want to give an annual gift, whether they want to leave a legacy and give a gift of their estate, or whether they want to get the tax benefits of giving a larger gift. The other thing that happens, which makes the state so easy to fundraise in, is that the state matches those scholarship dollars. So Forrest Allen's $1 million gift instantly turns into $2 million for our students.
That is amazing.
It's amazing.
That's great. That makes me feel really good too, because I'm like, yay, money.
Yeah.
All right,
yeah.
so you've talked a lot about how great Northwest is, which it is, but you've been here for 2 years.
Yes.
What has been your favorite thing about being here? Favorite memory so far over these 2 years?
Really good question, because I went to those national sports events, which was pretty cool. I had the opportunity to represent Northwest College at a CEO conference recently, which is really, really cool. Favorite memory? I think orientation this year. One of the things that we did, so in my commitment to helping students graduate, I did a graduation challenge. And it was, if you recall, this spring or this summer when we were starting school, it was 50 degrees. It's warmer now in November than it was when school was starting. We did a dunk tank. And so I sat in a dunk tank, and anybody who was going to dunk me had to commit to graduating. And they filled out a form. And I took it to our advising office so that we could track their progress and take care of students who might be struggling. It wasn't necessarily fun, so it's my favorite memory. Maybe not my most fun memory, but it's my favorite memory because what that exemplifies to me, and what I hope it says to students, is I will literally do anything to get you all to graduate, because I am that committed to helping you. And so anything that I can do to interact with students and make a difference myself just becomes contagious on campus. And so you see what faculty are doing, you see how hard our staff are working, you see our custodians wanting to make this place as clean as possible so that you can learn. And I just love that. That's inspirational for me.
Well, Stephanie, thank you so much for coming in today.
Thank you.
And
I enjoyed talking to you.
Thank you so much for everything you do around campus for all of us.
It's my pleasure.
It's been great.
Thanks.
Northwest College Stefani Hicswa was here, and for more information, you can go to northwestcollege.edu. I'm Megan Eisenhower. Until next time.